this is Christopher James, and I'm here with Mike Patrick at the Grand Country. And Mike, you do a little bit of everything in the show here. I mean, you have multiple shows going on, right?
We have 8 different shows here that we do.
Eight different shows?
My real title is General Manager, and I produce all the shows, and I've ended up in a couple of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Which ones are you in?
I'm in Grand Jubilee, and then also help host Branson Cut VSA, our radio and TV show.
And do you dress up like Harley Worth It now that he's not here?
You know,
you're gonna do that,
I'm more of the Porter White. I'm the rhinestone guy. He was kind of
You're the
take the
rhinestone.
teeth out and a lot of plaid.
I love Perry. I
yeah,
think he's
we were sorry to
amazing.
lose him. You know, he just moved to Pigeon Forge.
I know. Yeah, we played his interview over the last few weeks and stuff because he was so funny and stuff.
Very
talking
funny
about
guy.
the show.
Always topical. I mean, that guy was on the internet every day, pulling material. So every day in the show, there was something. I mean, he never did the same routine twice.
No, and I was amazed by that because I got to be honest. I moved here from working in New York. And so some shows and stuff, I'm like, I don't think I'd really like to see this type of show. And, you know, I don't want to say names, but it rhymes with Nald Bobber. Like, I thought, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see that. But we went and saw those shows, and I loved it because of it's very unique. And Perry had a way of making it really, really unique for his act. And so when I ended up interviewing him, I was shocked. Like, it was one of the best ones I've ever had. It was a lot of fun talking with him and learning his background as a financial advisor.
But you wouldn't expect it,
I did not see that coming. But anyways, we're here to talk to you about being here at Grand Country. And how did you get your start in Branson?
You know, I'm from the area.
Really?
Yep.
I'd never get that.
Yeah.
That's unique.
A native to the area. Grew up in Nixa. My parents still live there. And as a kid, I was always fascinated with Silver Dollar City and show business. I went to church with all the ball knobbers.
Oh.
The MC of the show was my pastor. The one of the owners, Mr. Bill Mabe, was our music director. And so our church was kind of referred to as the Ball Knobber Church because the entire cast went there.
Okay, that's
so
cool.
as a kid, I grew up going to the show. You know, Bill Mabe helped raise my dad in Kansas years ago, so I had a connection with all these folks. So just probably a fascination with the Ozarks. In fact, I first tried to get on Star City when I was 15, too young. When I was 16, and they bent the rules and hired me. A little underage, and so went there, started robbing trains for a few years.
You worked for the train ride.
One of the funnest jobs I ever had. I think one of these days I'll retire, you know, and go back to working on the train because it was a great job.
Really?
A lot of fun.
Really? You just do the same thing all day, though, right?
Yeah, you do, but I mean, it's, you know, there's, I don't know, you find, just like, you know, in show business, you never do the same show twice. There's a, you know, wink and nod with somebody in the cast, or there's an inside joke that works its way through it. So, you know, through the repetition, there's always some ways to get around that. But then from there, the saloon show. I was in the saloon show for a while.
Were you one of the girls, or?
When we were hard up, you know?
Very hard up, apparently.
Same time going to college in Springfield. I have a degree in communications management. And actually, when I started school, I wanted to be a news anchor.
Oh, that's cool.
But I just want to be the anchor. I don't have to do all the field work.
Yeah.
You know,
that's kind of what I wanted to do.
Start there with
just hand me the stuff.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that.
I don't want to stand in the rain and actually have to do, because I wanted to do that. I used to have a weekly show with our news station, Magic Mondays. So I would go in and talk about entertainment, what was in the movie theater, what was going on around town. Then I'd do a little magic trick and that sort of thing. But I never wanted to do the research. I just wanted to show up and
especially when, you know, our backgrounds. I mean, you're very, you know, off the cuff, and you know, news, you kind of got to really have the facts to back it up.
Yeah, they kind of it has to make sense.
Changes the whole game. But
so you did that. So you were at the saloon show.
Yeah. So going to college at the same time, and Branson just kind of kept pulling me here. There was a show called the Foggy River Boys. They were the fourth show in town. They started in '74, and I got a job playing piano for them when I was 20. And so finished up school, still working Silver Dollar City. And it's one of those things, I wasn't a good student. I didn't like school, and every day going to class at college, I thought, I can't wait that feeling after my last final.
Yeah. Why didn't you like it?
I'm not a book kind of person.
Yeah, okay.
You know.
I just wanted to say, I didn't care for it either. And I didn't like the structure of it, to tell you the truth. I would get really bored. If there was a subject that I didn't care about or whatever, I'm like, come on. Like,
absolutely,
or if I thought it wasn't useful to what I would be doing.
Completely. I loved, you know, classes that felt practical.
Yeah.
But so the day I finished my last final, and I'm walking to the car, and I'm waiting for this euphoric feeling like this is the last time I have to do this walk, and it's like, what do I do now? What am I doing now?
Right.
And later that day, Silver Dollar City called me and offered me a year-round salary job.
Oh.
And so I spent 17 years with Silver Dollar City, rides management on into entertainment management after I graduated college, produced a lot of the shows there for a long time. And at the same time, I was working at Grand Country on the side. Had a long-term relationship with Glenn Robinson that owns a place. And he kept twisting my arm to move over here. And I looked at it. I have a lot of respect for Jack Hershon, who built Silver Dollar City. And Glenn's an innovator. I put him in the same light as I would Jack Hershon. I thought, what a great opportunity to go work for an innovator, somebody that's built something, you know, literally off the back end of a truck.
Right.
So I've been at Grand Country full-time 13 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's quite a... Now, was it difficult for you to take a salaried, I would say, office-type job, knowing that you wanted to be, like, on camera, you wanted to entertain?
Yeah. What's funny is that point in my life, I really wanted to... I was ready to be off stage.
Already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, you think on the train you did 20, 30 shows a day. Saloon show you did 7 shows a day. I was in a night show every night.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'd had several years of a lot of shows. And, you know, still to this day, I'd probably prefer just to be general manager of the theater.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I went to the Grand Jubilee 11 years ago to host the show, it was supposed to be a year. We needed an MC, and I was cheap.
Right.
And now here's 11 years later, and you know, now we do a TV show, and I find myself more probably entertaining than I'd care to.
I just wonder, because I find a lot of parallels. We hadn't really talked that much before before the interview, but I had the same thing. Like I stopped for a while. I did a strictly business job in a completely different field, paper products, and thought I was just done. I just wanted a normal job where I could just go in, do that, not have my job be my life, basically. And after a while, I just couldn't do it. I did it for 10 years and then started getting into entertainment and came to Branson. And it was kind of the same thing where they asked me, I was only the comedian, so I had to work 15 minutes a day. You know, it was awesome. And then the next year, Jim asked me, would you consider emceeing? And I'm like, oh, no, that becomes a lot of work. And that was 10 years ago. And so I've been emceeing ever since.
Well, it's funny to hear you say that, and people say it about me. I mean, you're so good. I love watching your act. I'm a fan of yours.
Oh, well.
And to hear you say, you know, you were kind of done with it and you just want to be at an office job, because I get that, you know, often. It's like, well, I'd really rather be a man. Well, you're so good at what you do. Yeah. And I think, you know, the performing comes easy. It is fun.
Sometimes,
it's a commitment. And I don't think a lot of people realize that, you know.
I view it as an outlet, because I can say and do things on stage that I can't in real life. In real life, I am extremely quiet and shy and keep to myself. I don't really leave the house. Yeah. But on stage, you can be the opposite. And so that's often, and maybe you get this, people are shocked when they come and visit me at our house if we have a birthday party, something like that for our kids. They find me to be really quiet, and they're concerned that something is wrong.
All the time. What's wrong?
Yeah.
And
why
are
you in a bad mood?
Yeah.
Is something upsetting you?
Yeah. And, you know, I'm a fan of Johnny Carson, and I heard he was the same way. You know, off camera, like if you were a guest, he didn't speak to you.
Right.
Just because he's a very introverted, and I can certainly relate to that.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
It's funny that you say, you know, on stage you kind of sneak some things in. It's probably an outlet. I find myself sometimes, if there's a frustration or something going, that ends up on stage as a joke and probably helps me.
Okay, well, when we come back, I want to talk to you about exactly what you do here at the Grand Country and the shows that you have going. So we'll be right back in a few minutes. Thank you for supporting All Things Branson. Be sure to subscribe and stay in touch on Facebook and Twitter. So with the shows that you have the Comedy Jamboree. Are you involved with that?
Yeah, I produce that show.
You produce it. All right. You're not in that show.
No.
And talking with some comedians, including Perry and other comedians around town, one of the big concerns in Branson is not to upset anybody at all in any way. But sometimes...
And underline at all.
At all. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes I think, and they seem to think, that we overthink it. That we are overprotective, I guess, of it, and it kind of stifles the comedy a little bit. You know, do you find that? Have you had any issues with the country or with a comedy show that you have here? Of anybody being,
you know, occasionally I'll get a letter here or there, and it's one of those things. You know, before we went on the air, we were talking. There's a trust level. You know, like your employers trust you. You know, you're a pro, you've done this. I feel the same way with the folks in the Comedy Jamboree. I mean, I've hired very talented folks, people I've worked with for a long time, and I trust them.
Right.
And, I mean, they know our values at Grand Country, you know, but I let them have some leeway and know every now and then we're going to get a letter.
Right.
And you know, and I answer every letter, you know. Sorry if we offended you. And here's the thing about it, you know, comedy, unfortunately, someone is the butt of the joke.
That's the very nature of comedy.
That's what makes it funny. And so I hope that if you were offended by the fat joke, you laughed at the Baptist joke, knowing that somebody maybe was laughing themselves to death on the fat joke, upset with the Baptist joke, and I just one of those things, I know there's going to be 2 or 3 letters now and then, but you take how, we see 250,000 people a year at that show. What's the percentage on that?
And the people you have, and I feel it's the same way with most of the comedians in town, including me, it's once you know their act and know their personality, nothing they say is meant to be hurtful.
Absolutely.
And I get the comment a lot that there are a few jokes that I do that someone can't just walk out and do my joke because someone would be offended by that.
Yeah.
But by the time they get to know me and know my style and know my personality, then it's okay.
Yeah.
Like they know that it's not meant to be hurtful.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that everybody in your show has that.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Well, we just have salt of the earth people. I mean, great values, and the one thing at intermission, I have to make sure we shake every hand, or we try to talk to everybody, or sign every. Even if the show runs long, I don't want anybody getting up till we signed it, every picture, or somebody that wants to touch us or
touch you.
Appropriately.
Yeah, really. You just offended like a third of our people. You just offended a third of the people watching.
Country, we will touch you.
Right here. Well, in the heart area, not the lung. No, I totally agree, because that is one of the strange things about Branson, because I've worked Atlantic City, Vegas, Chicago, LA, all these places, New York. But Branson, they're very, very concerned by that, and rightfully so. I mean, we have the image of what Branson is, and so you have to be really careful with that.
Yeah.
But I just think sometimes they're overly protective. And it's a little
I try to give
frustrating.
all our folks, in the night show with Jamie Hagee at Grand Jubilee, I try, I trust him with my life. And
that's scary, because I interviewed him. I don't know if I would do that. He wanted to do his Julia Childs imitation or something.
Oh,
for
not
me.
that again.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well,
there should be a court order.
Well, I think there was.
Well, good.
It might be in violation.
I hope so. So you have a lot of different shows going on. You have the comedy one. Now, do you work with every show that's here? So,
yes.
like the pet show?
Yeah.
Is that still going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pet show runs year round. It's weekends all year long, and then during the summer it's here about the full time, 7 days a week, 12 weeks of summer. And then back again at Christmas when we have families.
Oh, okay.
And when it's not here, we have a country show that operates in the morning called Down Home Country, classic country music show. Produce that.
Yeah.
And so our mainstay shows are Comedy Jamboree and Grand Jubilee. They run year round.
Right.
And plus the Branson Cut VSA show we do on Friday nights is our radio.
I know. I got to do that.
TV.
That was fun.
Yeah. That was
crazy.
awesome. You got to come back.
Okay. Yes, I would love to come back, because I honestly, when I got asked to do that show, I was on a cruise.
Yeah.
If you remember right, we were communicating. I think you and I were communicating, and Chris.
Yeah, Chris, our production manager.
And I had a very different perception as to what the show was going to be.
Chris thought he was coming for a radio interview. Like, where'd you grow up?
I thought I was coming for an interview.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, no, you got 6 minutes on television. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And
like
you were
the
brilliant.
whole time. Well, thanks. But the whole story was, whoever I was talking to, whether it was you or Chris, I got an email saying, what do you need the band for? Or what do you plan to do with the band? And I said, band? There's a band? Like, well, I don't do anything with the band. Okay, what songs are you going to do?
Yeah.
Whatever. And I said, do you have the right person? And I explained, and I showed up thinking that I was having an interview like this. And then they asked me what my last bit was going to be. I'm like, bit? And I was literally on my phone going, I don't know what's happening, to my wife. What should I do? What should I do? And she said, you'll be fine.
Oh, it was awesome.
You'll be fine. So I just went out and did some of my stand-up, and it was very scary for me, actually.
It was brilliant.
Thanks.
Seriously, I'm in the wings. I was laughing. Some funny stuff.
I was totally winging it, and I was a nervous wreck. My wife was texting me. I could feel my phone vibrating in my back pocket. She's like, is everything okay? What's happening? But,
well, interesting enough about Branson Cut VSA, it started out as a radio show. A radio show for a decade. And then about 3 or 4 years ago, one of our contacts from a Springfield television station said we want to make it a TV show.
Right.
And I was very hesitant to do it because didn't know a lot about producing a TV show, and I've seen a lot of bad television come out of Branson.
Really?
And, the thing is, I know who would be watching, all of our peers.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that worked out really well. I'm glad we did it. It's getting syndicated all over. I think we're it's good for Grand Country, but I also think it's great for Branson. To showcase some of the talent. Spots for Branson. And it's all over. It's in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's in Louisiana. It's in Florida.
No, I was amazed.
Kansas.
It was not what I expected to do. I thought it was a much smaller thing than it was.
Yeah.
And when I came in, I was very shocked by everything. Because I had literally just got back from the cruise, and I think came in here like that weekend and did the show. But no, it was amazing. But so you guys have expanded quite a bit with that, and that's on every week. Yeah. Right? You have to do that every week.
Yeah, it's one of those things. And, radio is a lot easier because you didn't have to memorize a lot.
Don't have to wear pants.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Like they can't tell now.
It's in front of it's in front of a live audience, but, it was a lot more relaxed as radio. And those first few TV shows, it took us a while to get our stride because we were all just, very nervous and now it's one of those things. I still feel like we just get out and do what we do. If there's a mistake, I don't let anybody fix it. Right. I believe in being authentic. I think the audience likes that.
This is really weird because this is exactly what we say about doing our interviews. Even when we do little quick spots around town, we do one take. And that's it. We want it to be real. We want it to feel like it's live and happening right now. And our audiences are very smart. It's much like performing. People always say to me, "Do you use Stooges in your shows?" No, never, because you can tell.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can tell right away.
Some of the funniest moments are, with the folks you get up,
not
knowing what they're going to do, or they're reacting, or
exactly.
Yeah.
And back to complaints about the show. Anytime I've ever had anybody have a negative comment about content, it's always something that an audience member said. It's never something that I said.
And that's easier to deflect. Oh no.
Yeah. In a way, they still hold me accountable for that. but All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about working during the off season a little bit because I think it's crazy that you guys are open all year round. I mean, it's good, but I want to talk about that and how that goes and what's going on in 2016. So
all right.
We'll be right back. Thank you for supporting All Things Branson. Be sure to subscribe and stay in touch on Facebook and Twitter. Hey, we're back with Mike Patrick here at the Grand Country. We're here at the Buffet. The buffet. Yes. And I got to say, you guys got a lot going on. Now, do you have anything to do with all this other stuff that happens? You got Waterparks, you got putting.
I do anything the boss asks me to do. It's
really?
funny. You end up in a lot of different places. And of course,
so you're the general manager of the whole thing?
General manager of the theater.
Of the theater?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't have anything to do with like the, what's that, the pizza? Not
directly. As I say, we all end up, it's funny, particularly my department, the theater, I make a little organizational chart. So it has a little box, and here's what you're supposed to, and then I just wad it up and throw it away. And it's like, whatever we need to do to be successful.
Right.
That we all do. And that's all the way across the company. I mean, it's interesting. Glenn, the owner, is 73. He built this thing out of the tailgate of his truck. You'll see him out in the parking lot every day picking up trash.
Really?
I mean...
So he's still around?
Oh, very hands-on. He knows everything that's going on. And,
and very proactive, they seem. I mean, you guys... here at Grand Country, they expanded. They added the putt-putt outside.
Yeah.
And I came here with the kids to the pizza. Fun spot. Just right before Christmas. And I had no idea that all that was in there and stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's an amazing place.
It is. It's like a whole entertainment complex kind of.
Yeah.
It's neat.
Well, it's funny. 2 or 3 years ago, my assistant Amy and I came up with an all-inclusive program because it's like we could. We're the only place you can literally pull in the parking lot and never leave.
Right.
We have a 319 hotel room. We have an indoor water park. We have 3 restaurants. We have 3 indoor mini golf courses. Excuse me, 2. One's outside.
Yeah.
A theater that operates 3 to 4 shows a day. And what am I missing? The family, the fun spot, the family arcade center. And so we came up with this just like a Mexican resort. You get your little armband and pay one price, and you can come here and do, stay for a week.
That's what I was going to say. We do that a lot because I work at some of those resorts, and that's what it reminds me of. You go and it's all inclusive. You got everything that you need.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
No, it's pretty amazing. But what are some of the trends that you've seen over the last few years? I've been in Branson for going on 11 years, and it has changed a lot. And I just talked to the Chamber of Commerce about changes and new businesses coming to town. What are some of the trends that you've seen over the last few years?
Well, I think you got to be family friendly. I mean, motor coach business is not what it was at one time. Of course, 20 years ago, Jerry Henry from Silver Dollar City said, this is generations coming up won't get on a tour bus. We better get ready. And, like Glenn here that owns it is such an innovator. I mean, I think we stay on top of things, building family attractions. Our shows are geared family. And it's interesting, and I mentioned the word authentic earlier because it's I feel like at Grand Country we try to offer authentic experiences, something real, tangible, you know, when you talk about changing Branson, it's we still do country music, and I think we do it well. It's often I hear people come to the Grand Jubilee, and so I don't like country music. I love this.
Right.
Well, because I hire people that can sing. I hire very talented people. The shows are very fast paced. I think when I write the shows, I think somebody's got a remote control in their hand.
Right.
You know, there's not a song in my shows that are over 2 minutes.
Oh, that makes sense.
Just because I know, you know, because I watch the audience. You know,
Yeah.
at what point are they getting, you know, ready for something else? And so I think there's things that are combining to make us successful. You know, I mentioned the AllInclusive program. We had a record year in 2014. We had a record year in 2015, and even more excited about 2016. And it's one of those things. I think we've made our entire property work for us.
Right.
Well, you know, the hotel, the family attractions, the shows.
During what's considered the Branson Offseason, which seems to be getting shorter and
Yeah.
shorter and shorter, you still have the shows. What are the audiences like? I mean, do you get quite a few people that come to the shows?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing to me. You know, it'll be the dead of winter, and of course we try to run some area appreciation. We do some things to bring some people in the door.
Right.
But you know, the way Glenn looks at it, he's got people in his hotel. The restaurant's going to be, all our restaurants are open every day. The attraction, I mean, there's not anything here that's closed.
Right.
365 days out of the year. So it's also a good time with the shows. I mean, right now we're operating, but we're also rehearsing. Comedy Jamboree is here on the weekends with the last year's show, but every day they're rehearsing 8 hours on the new show that'll open in about 2 weeks. Grand Jubilee's new show's already open. So it's one of those things, the off season, people always say, well, how are you enjoying your time off?
Yeah, right.
Or a little less. The workload is, I mean, from October through middle of May, 1st of May, when we're reopening, redoing all the shows for the year. You know, May to October is the time to kind of kick back, and then you're just operating, which isn't, you know,
Yeah, that's
a
true.
walk in the park. But,
Yeah.
you know, this time of year is just crazy when you're performing, you're rehearsing and planning.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed just in the years that I've been here that like I said, the off season has gotten shorter, and a lot of places are staying open. We're getting a lot more people throughout the year. In fact, I do a lecture on the cruise ships about Branson. I was telling the chamber this earlier today. And so I was doing it this week, and some people came up to me and said, we're going to Branson on vacation next week. And I said, next week? You mean next month?
Yeah.
And they said, no, next week we're staying at Big Cedar. We like to go when it's not as crowded. We can go around, we can enjoy the lake, we can relax with the family. And I was surprised by that. And quite a few people came up to me and said they come during
Yeah.
this time of the year. And so I find that surprising. I would say probably 6 or 7 years ago, I would be majorly shocked if somebody had told me that.
Yeah.
Because everything used to be closed. I remember driving down the strip and trying to find a place open to eat.
Yeah.
That was the problem.
Well, and when you live here, it can be a little bit depressing. You know, before I
Yeah.
was in a show at night, I mean, if you didn't eat before 7, because I don't
Yes.
cook,
Yeah.
so it's, you know, eat out every
Get
night.
Jamie to do it. Apparently, he's really good at it.
He is a good cook. But, you know, if you didn't eat before 7, you didn't eat.
Yes.
Because the restaurants would close or whatever. And I think it's a little better now.
Yeah. Yeah, I was frustrated for a while because our day off was Sunday, and there was nothing to do Sunday evenings. Nothing to do. Like, even the movie theater wasn't open. And I was shocked by that. I was used to going to see a movie at like 10 o'clock at night where
Yeah.
I grew up. And here, matinee was it.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised. No, I think it's great to be open year-round. I think Branson needs to find some sort of winter attractions too. It's too bad. I mean, we can't have skiing and stuff like that like
Yeah.
some other places. But I think that there's a market there for people that want to travel in the winter.
And, you know, surprising, even for locals, because we have this indoor water park that's 82 degrees every day.
Oh, really?
So we'll be
I'm gonna
packed
go do
out.
that now.
It's awesome over there.
Yeah.
But, you know, we'll be packed out on weekends with just local folks who, you know, particularly, you know, we just had a little bit of snow, a little bit of ice here. So the locals will be, you know, they're ready to do something on the weekend and be warm. And we do an incredible local business, you know, when kids are out of school on a snow day or on weekends. A little
Oh, that's
weekend
cool.
getaway for, you know, maybe people that are not directly in Branson. But when I say locals, I mean Springfield and surrounding towns.
And I think you guys, because you're all inclusive, I've had people mention to me, oh, I wish Branson had like a Chuckie Cheese or something. And I said, well, I don't see how something like that would be viable because you guys, and I always bring Grand Country up as an example, they have everything. Like,
Yeah.
it's like a Chuckie Cheese plus, you know? No, seriously, you
I
can
like
come,
that.
you can have a show, you can have all the different meals, you can have the putt-putt, like it's so much better. But I've had people when, I forget the name of the pizza, Incredible Pizza or whatever it was, when that closed down, some friends of mine said, oh, we should open up one. You
Yeah.
know, because I used to run an amusement business back in Ohio where we did bounce houses and boxing
okay,
and sumo
yeah.
wrestling, and I still had all the equipment at that time. And they said, "Oh, we ought to rent that," and I said, "There's no way I can compete against Grand Country." And I kept bringing this up as an example because they really do have something for the whole family. It reminds me very much. We're taking the kids to Disney World in 3 weeks. They've never been there.
Oh, gosh.
I used to work there, but we do the staying on campus
Yeah.
there. Because it's very much like this. Like there's something to do constantly.
Yeah.
And I think you're really onto something with that. I mean,
It's seemed to be paying off.
constantly expanding. You have anything that you guys that you know of that he's planning on adding?
Nothing
Or-
that I can mention at the moment, but
Okay.
he loves construction.
Uh-huh.
So the minute he gets one project done, trust me, he's looking at the next one.
Yeah, and I like that everything is themed with the giant banjo and the, you know, it just has a cool look to it. You can tell that he puts 100% into all of this. I mean, look at the giant golf balls and stuff. You know, it's not like fly by night sort of thing. Like
It's fun working for the guy. I
Yeah?
mean, he doesn't know Sunday from Wednesday.
I need to talk to this guy.
He's a neat guy.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. He's out in the parking lot working out of the back of his truck, apparently. You keep bringing that up.
salting the parking lot at the
Yeah,
moment.
really good. All right, so it's been fun talking to you about what you have done, what you have going on. What are some things that you would like, some changes you'd like to see in Branson? Do you have anything that you would like to see? There's been a lot of talk of expansion of the transit system through the gondolas. I don't know if you've been following that. Probably very much so.
I think all of it's exciting. I mean, you know, it's one of those things. I think, you know, any community to be successful, you've got to, or any business, anything you have has got to evolve.
Right.
You know, and I think there's some great ideas. The Bigfoot thing they're talking about.
Yeah, people keep mentioning that.
The new indoor attraction that's going to be
Fritz's?
Yeah, Fritz's. I think that's going to help all of us.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think that any of that type of stuff just attracts a new demographic.
Absolutely.
And like the chamber was saying, a lot of the hardcore locals don't like a lot of change. Like they like things, they just want their fishing holes back. They just want, you know, to
Yeah.
keep things how they were. But as he said, it's not turning away from those people at all.
I
It's
think you
trying to
preserve-
attract more people.
I think you preserve the past while looking to the future.
Oh, that's good. Gotta save that.
I actually,
yeah.
that's not my quote, but
Oh.
but I love that quote because it's one of those things. I mean, you know, I've mentioned the word authentic. There are things in my shows that will be very reminiscent of my childhood, going to the Ball Knobbers or seeing shows that I grew up on that I think are true to Branson, true to the area. It's one of those. When I was for our city, there was a lot of employees, and we brought in Nickelodeon one year, this big kids festival.
Right.
And before that, the only colors on park were beige, buff, and brown.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then here comes Nickelodeon. We're bringing in primary colors, and we're bringing things that weren't necessarily the theme for 25, 30 years of the park. But it's one of those things we knew we had to do to expand the park, bring in more folks, bring in younger folks, family-friendly folks. And so those things, you marry the two together. And that's why I say, you know, you preserve the past while looking at the future.
Yeah, they're not turning away from
No.
what made Branson. It's
Families have
just-
enjoyed this town for decades. And I think the new attractions are just an extension of bringing more folks to town to enjoy the area.
I think so too. We have all the zip lines, the water park.
Yeah.
That's probably the number one thing. When I do my lecture on ships, I start with, when I say Branson, Missouri, what pops into your mind? And I have people shout out things. And then I tell them what it's really like. And I have a little slideshow that I sometimes do showing the water park, showing the amusement park, zip lining. I have the commercials I've done with my
Yeah.
kids with all of that. And they're often shocked by that, at all the expansion that we've had, and that there's so much for families to do.
Yeah, there's a lot for them to do. It's a shame not to get that word out.
Yeah, but you guys are really doing it here, and I think it's incredible.
Well, thank you.
And I have a lot of fun. It was great talking with you. Thank
Likewise.
you. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me during this busy time when you have all of these rehearsals and stuff going on. It was difficult to get this set up, but thanks a lot for talking with us, and I hope to come back on your show.
Please, yeah, you have a standing invitation.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'll just pop in whenever. Just
Anytime.
walk out on stage, see what Jamie does.
Yeah.
Because that went so
Do
well.
it.
Okay. Well, it was good talking to you.
Easy,
Thank
buddy.
you very much, Mike. I'm Christopher James here with Mike Patrick. Thanks for watching All Things Branson. Bye-bye. Thank you for supporting All Things Branson. Be sure to subscribe and stay in touch on Facebook and Twitter.